I'm talking about from back in 1990, back in 2000, 2010, and now 2020. It always seems to be one of the weaker draft classes of to start the era of, pretty much. The 1990 class was pretty good. The 2000 class was absolutely awful. And 2010, name five people from the top 10 in that group that are still like relevant in the NBA right now. So pretty much but you got some stars, you got some gems, you got guys that did their thing. But the NBA draft 2020, and pretty much this year is a year where a lot of kids are in the top 10 once again. It reminds me a lot of the 2001 draft, where they had a lot of players who felt like they're ready for the NBA, but they're really not, because a lot of these guys, they did not get through, they didn't finish the college season. Everybody didn't get a great assessment of what these players truly are. It was just more about the hype that comes with the territory with a lot of these guys. They're boasting a lot of these guys off of their high school playing high school game, but this ain't high school in the NBA. This is a tough league, and people have to understand that. Even the G League will make you work for your spot as well too. This is not, how it's been your whole life, where you just dominate. Now you with all the dominant players. So pretty much, I don't know if some of these guys are going to be able to transition to the NBA as well as they think that they can. But you know what? These scouts, they're greedy. They want all of them. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Even if the NBA really only has about 15, 20 spots available, they want all of them. So you know what? It's hard to pass up on millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I totally understand that part. But when you're really good at what you do, they'll be able to come get you. And there's other players that have been able to thrive off of that. But it just seems like this new era of players, they just want it all and want it all right now. And they don't even establish themselves in college. They're willing to walk away from the school with a losing record, but talk about they're a top 5 player. If you can't win in college, you're not a top 5 player in my book. But you know what? It's a new day, and you got to just deal with it with the way it is. So pretty much, this is the group that I have here. Phoenix Suns, I got them drafting Devin Vassell from Florida State. This kid is really good, and he can fit into a offense, and he's a polished player. He's a sophomore. He's not. That's a bit better than being a freshman. He got 2 years of college basketball in him, and I understand not sticking around at Florida State, because Florida State's not a basketball powerhouse. And if you have the skills and the talent and all that good stuff, why stick around and take a chance of getting hurt and everything like that at a school like Florida State? Now, when you play for the North Carolinas and Dukes of the world, that's different when you say you're going to sit back and, want to really win a national championship. But we all know Florida State, they just want to make the tournament. They just want to be one of the top teams in the ACC. They ain't too worried about winning national championships, in my opinion. Even though they keep designing teams to get to that point, why do they always fall short by the time we get to the Sweet 16s? So it is what it is with them. But I do like Vassell. Vassell's a very good player. He has very good size to him as well, too. The guy's 6'8". He's very versatile as well. And I know it's like kind of just going back and going to get Bridges, the kid that they already had, that they traded with Philly for, my man out of Villanova. But they need more players like that, because I know that you guys have to understand, a lot of these guys are moving parts as well too. And I feel like Devin Vassell is a guy that they can be interchangeable. He can either start, or he can be a top guy off the bench early in his career. And I think they need a player like this who's going to commit to defense as well too. The Phoenix Suns look like a brand new team in the bubble and everything like that. And if they commit themselves to playing better defense, then they should be one of the better teams in the NBA next season, possibly an 8th seed. And Devin Vassell, I think, would be a good fit for this team. They don't need to go get a splash player or anything like that. They need to just go get somebody who can fit in and be a contributor to both ends of the floor, offense and defense. And then we have the number 9 pick. I'm going to go have the kid from Germany, Killian Hayes, pull up for the Wizards. I think it's inevitable that Bradley Beal and John Wall are on the way out. I know they might not be out on their way out now, but the thing is, though, I can give it half of a season. Pretty much there's assets that can be, moved around and everything like that as we move forward during the season. But just the future with those two in Washington is probably a good another 12 to 18 months, to be honest with you. And if they get Killian Hayes right now, a guy that they can mentor somewhat up under the wing and get him prepared to take over the team in about a year or two, as they really go ahead and tear down the team and, reset that salary cap a little bit as well too. Pretty much, and you could see the writing was on the wall that, maybe that the Wizards do need to start over, because Bill and Wall haven't been happy there for years, man. And you want to have players that want to be here, like seriously be here. So pretty much Killian Hayes, I think, can be the start of the true rebuild of the Washington Wizards. Now, this is my favorite player in the draft, and pretty much he made USC look like killers last year. USC was going to make a big run in the NCAA tournament regardless of how you guys feel. I do truly feel like this kid right here is going to be a special player. This guy, Oni Ankuku. This kid is from Chino Hills. He played over at Chino Hills High with the Ball brothers as well too. And he was let's just say this. He was the Malone to LaMelo Ball Stockton, in a sense, you know what I mean? Or he was, they had a good chemistry going on with their whole thing. These kids had played together. They had been on the big baller team and everything like that together. So they know each other very well. And Nokwe actually went to USC. Him and LaMelo were supposed to go to USC together, but we all know what Pops did. He pulled him out of school and wanted to take him over to Ukraine or Lithuania somewhere and have him play pro sports when he should have been playing high school basketball over in Chino Hills and just listening to what the coach wanted them to do. And, pretty much it set that school back for a bit, but they wound up still getting to the state championship. So pretty much, and I think they won it as well, too. I know that they beat my alumni, Pasadena High School, in the CIF title game, and we thought we could actually beat them, too, because we had somewhat better players as well, too. But this kid right here was a man amongst boys that day, and the way that he played was league. Only other person I saw dominate a high school basketball game in that fashion was Kawhi Leonard, and that was when he played for the CIF championship against Modern Day. So pretty much this kid right here intrigues me. And the Knicks want a winner, right? They want to get a guy who can help them win basketball games, have a winning mentality, fit right into what they're doing, and, change the culture. You know what I mean? And this is a change the culture type player, in my opinion. He might not be a big superstar right away, but I'm going to tell you like this. They're going to love this kid on Fifth Avenue if he plays the way that he played in high school and at USC. I promise you that. So New York Knicks, that should be your guy right there. This should be your main target here at the 8 spot. And then you got the kid from Israel who plays literally for like the top team in Israel as well too, in the top league. And this is more of a throw it on the wall, see if this kid can stick. The guys who came from Israel over the year, they've been good bench players, like good shooters and smart basketball players, but they're not guys that put your team over the top. But I think this could be different because this guy is coming in with a lot of hype, and I think Detroit will be willing to take a flyer on a kid like this just because they're kind of stacked at that position. But Detroit is, to me, accumulating a lot of assets to make another big deal somewhere down the road. I don't see Blake Griffin being on that roster much longer, to be honest with you. And I think that if you're a top-tier team in the NBA, a team that maybe want to get over the top, you might want to invest in somewhat getting a trade done with Detroit so then you can revise Blake Griffin's career, because Blake Griffin still wasn't doing that bad in Detroit. It's just that Detroit is just an irrelevant team in the NBA, and it's that simple right now. So pretty much Denny Adija from Israel, I think he could be the best fit for the Pistons at this point, because I really don't know what to do with the Pistons. I would say the Pistons need to try to figure out a way to get a trade going on draft night and find themselves the right fit. But I think that's what's going to really happen with Detroit. They'll draft a guy like this, but they're going to be making a move with another team, in my opinion. Then this is an intriguing pick to me as well too. Isaac Okoro, small forward from Auburn. He's a freshman, and he's very athletic, and he's a fun player to watch. And I think that this is exactly what the Hawks need. They don't need another shooter. They need somebody who can be on that perimeter and do big things. I don't think Cam's going to work out the way that they thought he was. I know he's a big-time prospect coming out of Duke and all that good stuff, but I think that he'll just wind up being a average NBA player when it's all said and done. But prove me wrong. You're still in your you're still in your youth. You're still 20 years old, so you got plenty of time. But I feel like Isaac Okoro is a guy that shows up for ball games, and it's going to be huge with this kid moving forward, in my opinion. I think that they need that type of skyscraper, big vertical guy that's going to go out there and get his own points. He's not going to depend on just jump shots like a lot of these guys do in the NBA, and he'll be able to still let the stars be the stars in Collins and Trae Young. So I do think that this could be the best fit for Atlanta moving forward, so they can have a team that could possibly make some noise in the East next season. They had their moments last year as well, too. They had a horrible record, but Atlanta did have their moments early in the season last year, and Trae did show that he can win in this league. And you know what? They went at it with some of the best teams in the league, and some of those games they actually went ahead and won as well, too. And we all know that this team can drop 140 on the board as well, too. They score a lot of points. But the biggest problem with the Hawks is they give up a lot of points as well, too. That's why I think Isaac could be a very good fit for this team, because he plays really good defense as well. You can't play on Auburn if you don't play defense, and that's just facts. All right, so we move on, and we got the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to get the most polished player in the draft, and that's going to be Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin is the only senior as well, too, and, his game he was dominant in college, very dominant in college, and the Cavs need a guy that can be a leader right away, a guy that is already coming from a, winning tradition, and, start a new wave with the Cavs. The Cavs been drafting a lot of young players, and these players aren't really hitting your Q rating, but Garland started playing really well second half of the season before the stoppage and everything like that. And the guard that they drafted the year before, he's pretty good too, but he'll be traded very soon as well too. It might be draft night as well. So pretty much I do like Obi Toppin to play for the Cavaliers, man. I think this will be a very, very good situation for him as well too. So there it is, man. I'm gonna go ahead and put Obi Toppin up here for forward center, Dayton, and this is exactly what the Cavs need. They need a guy who can help them lead, who can help lead and be an actual, asset to the team, and not just be somebody they teaching on the job. You know what I mean? So there it is with the Cavs. Now we're getting down to the nitty gritty of things. We're getting down to the top four here, and in the top four, I really do truly like Tyrese Halliburton. I think that this will be a great fit for the Bulls, the young Bulls, young puppy Bulls. Kobe White should be able to thrive with a guy like this. Halliburton, 6'5", 6'6", hell of a point guard, can shoot threes as well too. Actually, he's a two guard. They want to make him a point guard, but he's 6'5". So why don't you just let him be a natural two guard, and him and White can go ahead and make a brand new backcourt there in Chicago, and start getting this team moving forward. You know what I mean? And getting them much better. So I think that Tyrese Halliburton, just because these top three players probably will not be out of the top three, but if one of these top three players do fall, I could see somebody like, say, this kid Anthony Edwards at number 1 dropping to the Bulls. But I can see the Bulls making a draft day deal as well too for the player. But Tyrese Halliburton is the next best option after Edwards here at this position, in my opinion. I think that he had a great season over at Iowa State this year, a school that you unlikely to have a star stud like this one. Last time they had a draft pick this high, it was Marcus Fizer. And guess where he was drafted to? The Chicago Bulls. But that didn't work out too well. But that was a different time, a different era. Oh, but it was in the year 2000 as well, too. So sorry about that, Chicago fans. Pretty much. But Tyrese Halliburton is no Marcus Fizer. It's a different story with him. Marcus Fizer was an undersized power forward, and they were trying to fit. At that time, the NBA was trying to find a new Charles Barkley, and it just wasn't working out in that regard. So pretty much. This one right here, Tyrese Halliburton, I think this will be a good deal. But I can see the Bulls as some players. You know what I mean? Some draft players. They're gonna maybe draft for somebody, and somebody may draft for them as well too. So be on the lookout for that one as well too. And now let's get to the top three. Charlotte Hornets select LaMelo Ball. The reason why I'm putting LaMelo on the Hornets is because Jordan's gonna want to torture him real quick for his dad saying that he could beat him. No, I'm just kidding. This is why the Hornets and LaMelo Ball are a perfect fit. The Charlotte Hornets need to sell tickets. Michael Jordan is not going to walk out there and play with them any night ever. Okay? Michael Jordan, to me, is the biggest star on the team. That's bad. When your executive is the biggest star on your basketball team. The Charlotte Hornets need a hype job somewhat. A guy that they can lean on, a guy that they can do some advertisements behind, all that good stuff. And I think this guy fits the bill. LaMelo Ball, they've been preparing this kid for the NBA since he was 12 years old. And as Daddy said, he may be the best one. And after evaluating all three of them, I think he is the best one. Even though I feel like Lonzo is the most polished all-around one out the group. But, you know, things just haven't worked out in the NBA because he's too distracted off the court. That's why it just didn't work out, because he was a guy who had to focus so hard on basketball his whole life. And then when he got to break away from his dad for 5 minutes, you know, he starts living and, you know, life is fun. And I want to be a 20-year-old. And, you know, nah, but you've made the choice to commit yourself to the NBA. So I think he's going to be really good by the time he gets out of New Orleans. You know what I mean? And I think the next stop for him could be Chicago or New York as well too. But let's stick to Little Bro. And I think what happens here with Little Bro is that Little Bro gets drafted by the Hornets to be the face of the franchise. And I know that sounds absolutely insane right now, but I think this will work for the Charlotte Hornets because they can have a guy that's willing to, you know, get others involved. He has a pretty nice touch as well, too. And the guy just goes out there and plays. He balls. You know what I mean? And, you know, they need a guy like this with a team that has some pretty good athletes as well, too. They just need a big name to kind of just give them a little bit of attention. And if they get a little bit of attention, I think they can actually be winning games. You have to understand, this team was only one game out of being in the bubble. They actually had a better record than the Wizards as well, too. But it is what it is at the end of the day. You know, Charlotte needs a face. They need a splashy star, and I think LaMelo Ball fits the bill. And they could do some things with him for the next 3, 4, 5 seasons as well, in my opinion. I know it seems like I'm coattailing to LaMelo, but LaMelo's the one that I know the best out of this whole group. Period. Point blank. I've been watching LaMelo for the last 6, 7 years. The rest of these guys, I've probably been watching them for the last 2 or 3 years. Maybe just started watching them this season. But LaMelo is a special player, and I think that the hype job, the star power is perfect for the Charlotte Hornets. It will help them sell. It will have an increase in season ticket sales, in my opinion, and that's what means the most to Michael Jordan at this point in his his basketball journey. You know what I mean? Filling them seats up, because that was the promise he made when he came in to buy the team as well too. All right, so Charlotte Hornets take LaMelo Ball. And then this is, to me, the most intriguing player in the draft. Could be the most, it could be the decade transcending star of the group as well, too. James Wiseman. There's not many things that he does wrong, and he's 7'1" as well, too. He could have had one of the best seasons in college basketball if it wasn't mired by, silly AAU coaches who were just so selfish and so greedy and so just, misguide these kids, man, and they mess them up, man, and pretty much, the NCAA wasn't having it. They looked up and said, Memphis, you're not going to do this again to us, man. We let Calipari do this with Derrick Rose. with my man Tariq Evans. We let them do this for years where they were bringing in all these top players and everything like that. You playing a mid-major. We consider your conference mid-major. How the hell did you get 5 All-Americans to come over here and play for you? Because all the kids knew Penny their whole life. No. Let's go ahead and look at some accounts, and then, these street agents and everything get everybody in trouble. And that's how it always goes. It's that simple. So pretty much with that, James Wiseman got messed up, and now, pretty much had to go work it out and get ready for the draft. I think James Wiseman will be able to help the Warriors get right back into Warrior shape because he's 7'1" and he's very versatile. He can shoot as well too, and he can play within that he can play within that offense. They were able to have JaVale McGee be the starting center for years. And, JaVale wasn't doing nothing but running up and down the court, doing spaceman stuff. So, pretty much, I think James Wiseman could be a perfect fit for the Golden State Warriors, and he could really put them over the top if he's able to come in and just do the small things. He can get them 14, 15 points at a position that is much needed on their team. But do they want to be a small ball team still? I think that they might want to look at it that you might want to, size up with the Lakers accordingly, because the Lakers like to have bigs. So you bring out your big, then this can give, a bit of a break for Draymond as well, too. Draymond can lead a little bit more, and then, this can open up more passing lanes and things of that nature, and the Warriors can probably get back to what the Warriors were doing if they are going to be full strength. So James Wiseman, I feel like, can make a big difference with the Warriors, would make the big difference with the Warriors, and they should lock it in, James Wiseman to the Warriors. I think that's inevitable, to be honest with you. But James Wiseman, to me, really is the number 1 pick in the draft, and if I was going to really, we'll have another one as well too, because I'm gonna watch more tape and really see if these guys, watch more tape, understand this thing a little bit more, because there might be some guys that didn't make the top 10 today that are gonna be in my top 10 next week. You know what I mean? So pretty much, I'm putting Anthony Edwards here because he's the consensus number 1 pick, but that doesn't mean anything to me because that kid did not play well in college. He played well. He had moments, but the team was awful. This reminds me a lot of Markelle Fultz, but he's a much bigger guy than Markelle Fultz. Markelle Fultz was hurt most of that season as well, too. Anthony Edwards was just kind of given a team where they looked at him to be the absolute alpha of the squad and go out here and scores 25, 30 points, and then we'll try to stay in games. But Georgia was awful last season, to be honest with you. And to me, transcending players that change the game, change the whole culture of your school. And they can turn that school into a winner right away. That did not happen with Georgia. I just feel like that's usually where guys come into the league and they can become high-end role players. They're not going to be superstars as they're trying to put them out to be. A superstar needs to be drafted at number 1, but over the last few years we haven't been able to really latch that in accordingly. And once again, it's a overshoot in my opinion. And I do agree. There's going to be a lot of trades on draft night. You guys have to bear with it, But these, how I feel, are the best fits. The reason why I'm putting Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves is because he's a 2-guard, and it would be great to have him be there with D'Angelo Russell and with Cat. But really, honestly, the smarter choice is for the Wolves to pick James Wiseman so they can prepare Cat to be traded so they can get some assets for him. Yeah, I know they brought in D'Angelo so they can have their 1-2 punch back from high school and everything like that. But Karl Anthony Towns has not been happy for a long time in Minnesota. And I think that if you were somebody like Brooklyn or somebody like the Knicks or something of that nature, you would try to make a somewhat of a draft day deal for this guy. You know what I mean? But you would have to give up something. But I think that it's well worth it for Cat as well too to get him back east. And Wiseman would be the wiser choice because that could be an automatic fill-in right there for him as well too. But that's probably not going to happen. So that's why I have Wiseman on the Warriors, and then he just puts them over the top, and then they can regret that years later. So Anthony Edwards, I think he he is the solid choice, but it just doesn't make sense to me because they got the kid Culver there as well too that they drafted from Texas Tech last year. But they said that he wasn't game ready yet. Then why run to the NBA if you're not ready yet? So that makes no sense to me in a sense. So they're doing exactly what the Timberwolves always do. They draft at the same position for 5-6 years straight and think they got something right. First it was the center, then it was the power forward, then it was the small forward, then it was the point guard, now it's the two guard. So figure it out, Minnesota, because you have one of the most talented players in the league and you wasting his prime as is. And now you got one of the better scorers in the league as well too. You have to make this move happen if you want to have a potent backcourt. So pretty much it is what it is, and that's what it's going to be, and that's my top 10 for this week. But we're going to go ahead and watch some film, and this list will change. I'll be dead honest with you, and pretty much once I go ahead and look at some more tape and everything like that. But this is 1.0, and